Hi, I'm Jeff and welcome back to the shed quarters. Now, I've been having a couple of little issues getting videos made. One of them is Mischief and the other is OMG, and well, together they take up a lot of time. So, I haven't been able to make a full video on one subject, so I thought I would make a bit of a TURDucken where I just get lots of different little jobs and just jam them all together into one glorious mess. Yeah, so I got a tripod for a camera because mine's kind of flimsy and this one's a bit better, except for it doesn't have the camera mount, so I've got to make one of them. Should be a simple job. Now, this is the anvil for my plannishing hammer, except I need one with more of a radius on it, so I'm going to have a go at making one of those in the lathe. This thing, my friend who is a fabricator, not to be confused with a fabricator, he wanted me to stick these together except for one's aluminium and one's steel, so I've got to remake this piece out of steel and glue them together with the hot melt glue gun. And well, this one is a gearbox casing, and unfortunately down the bottom here somebody has run over something and punched a little hole in the bottom, so I've got to try and weld it up. So that should be fun. It might even be a little bit of a hint towards an upcoming project. This piece, a couple of different ways I could do it. I could bend it, flatten it all out, and then trace around it. Or I could get a piece of ram board, bend that around and trace it on the inside, then carefully cut it all out and make a template that way. I could get it on the piece of steel, lay it there, and then carefully roll it over and hope that it doesn't move. But what I'm going to do, tape measure, bend it around. That's 178 millimeters. Measure from the end. 178 millimeters. That's the shape, the shape. There we go, template done in about 10 seconds. So I will cut that out, then we can start bending it. And there we go. So that is done. Now my friend the fabricator can take his daughter riding on the push bike. So yeah. Next job. That looks pretty good, so we will throw this into the plannishing hammer and see how it goes, finishing off these Cubman guards. So I think it's a pretty good fit. let's see what happens. Alrighty then, so this is my cheap Chinese plannishing hammer, and this is the anvil. Yeah. This is the biggest radius that they actually come with. They only come with 3 dies, and the other 2 are fairly flat. So we've just made this one, which is quite a bit more radius on it. Now, I don't know if it's got enough radius. If it's not good enough, then I've got a bit more of this bar stock, so I'll make another one, and then I'll have multiple sizes. So put him in. Yeah, not a great fit, but we'll see what happens. So the actual piece of metal goes in there, and the top actually hammers on the center of the radius, and I just got to move it backwards and forwards to actually hammer this to smooth it all out. So looks like it's a fairly close match to the radius I wanted, so we'll get this going, make a lot of noise, and see if I can clean this edge up. Wow, that's pretty good actually. I'm going to do a little bit more, see how we go, and yeah. There's always time for lube. Wow. Beautiful edges. Simple when you got the right tools. Now, that is perfect now, so a little bit of sanding just to take out the teeth marks from the stretcher shrinker, and this will be ready to fit up. But that's a different video on the Cubman. Yeah, very happy with that. Alrighty, on to the next little job. Alright, so new anvil works pretty good. I will have to get this heat treated before I do too much work with it. But yeah, I can make more of those now and complete the set. So, next up is tripod. So, this should be fun. Candle wax, great for working with aluminium. Alright, the hole saw was taking too long, so I got out the big guns, the death wheel. Now, you might be thinking this is a death wheel. Well, these do fly apart and they do hurt you, but this thing will actually kill you. So yeah, do not buy one of these. They are very dangerous. If you want to see how dangerous they are, I've made a video. Check it out, and then still don't go buy one, because yeah, it will kill you. Did I mention that? Anyway, let's get this thing in the lathe and keep going. Alright, well, At least the hole saw left enough of a round edge to clamp to, so throw this in the jaws and get going. And that goes in there. Sweet. Another job down. Bench is getting a little bit messier as we go along. So, gearbox is next. Now, on the outside, doesn't look like much. Just a little dent and some hairline cracks coming off. But on the inside, it's got a big chunk sticking out. So I want to knock that out first, so it doesn't break off later and go through the cogs. And then I'll use this non-ferrous die grinding bit that used for non-ferrous metals. So the big teeth will actually throw the bits of aluminium out instead of clogging up. If you've ever used a normal die grinder on aluminium, you'll understand. Now I'll use that and I'll grind out where these cracks are a little bit, and then I'll hit it with the gas torch, heat it all up with that. That should bring oils and stuff out to the surface and burn them off. And then after I've cleaned that up, I'll hit it with the TIG torch just to heat it up, no filler, just melt it, and that will bring any remaining stuff to the surface. And after we've done that, we should be able to just clean that up again and then weld it. Just plug the hole. We're going to use 40-43 filler wire because it's softer than the 53-56 that I normally use, and it generally won't crack when the cast aluminium cools. So let's see how that goes. Gonna see if we can knock this piece out. Just a center punch. That was pretty easy, and a couple of chunks fell out. Alright, we'll get onto it with the die grinder and start cleaning it up. Beautiful. Alright, so that's all been cleaned up, ready to go, and now I'm just going to go around with the TIG, going to heat everything up and burn all the oil and stuff out of the aluminium, bring it up to the surface, and then that can be cleaned off, and then I'll be right to weld it. So, hopefully. The hole's a little bit large now, but I can go along and hit that with the die grinder, take off all the extra stuff, and then it should be right for welding. Alright, so that should be good now. Let's melt some filler and see what happens. So I actually had to put the filler through the drain hole to fill up the weld on the inside here. Filled it right up flush on the inside, because in some parts it was 10mm thick, this casing. So now it's all back to full thickness. Now if the casing wasn't so damaged, if it was just a couple of fins, I would probably build up the fins with filler wire and then clean them all up. But as you can see, the whole gearbox is pretty rough, so we'll just be leaving it there. And well, yeah, it's alright job, shouldn't leak. And so I will take this back to its owner in exchange for a different car part, so that'll be handy for an upcoming project. Now the rest of this has gone back to its owner. It's going on a push bike for a little girl so she can learn how to ride better. And yeah, the camera mount, I'm thinking that I'm actually going to make an extra plate that goes on the top that will bolt up a action camera with an external mic, so I can get a few different angles and hopefully bring you some better videos. So that should be good. Now I'd love to show you my little anvil that I made, except OMG has been in the shed and it has disappeared somewhere. Not sure where. I'm hoping it's still in the shed. Otherwise it's probably rusting away somewhere outside, and yeah. He's a wonderful little helper sometimes. So, I'm going to go play a game of hide and seek, and well, yeah, as always, customize everything.